Good goddamn, nigga, that pussy broken in out the goddamn gate, nigga. Motherfucker, if I fall with all this shit, goddamn. Good goddamn, nigga, that pussy broken in out the goddamn gate, nigga. Okay, now you just playing with it. Put the goddamn shoe down before you fuck around and catch a case. We got competing toe caps right now. Yeah, this one feels among the skinniest. These ones in the Niger, maybe, these feel a little bit skinnier. Yeah, these are way skinny. Hold on now. Yeah, so these are for sure skinnier. The skinniest. Hold on now. Yeah, these are skinny. Skinny. Definitely wider in the midfoot. Like, oh yeah, hold on. Fuck that. Yeah, this shit has way more room already. Yeah, for sure it has way more room. I can feel a little bit of pinching here. I did have that first time I got them, but I was able to loosen them up quite a bit, and I didn't really have that issue. But if you do go with the ones, just make sure you loosen them up. But if you you really need more room, you probably want to go with the twos, I would say. So you see the tongue strap right there on the side. So you see this lengthy, you know what I'm saying, on the side. It's gonna hold the tongue in place to stop it from slipping and sliding. This one has one as well. It's just way lower down. Same concept and premise. It's gonna stop it from slipping and sliding. And now here's a difference right here. You see behind the tongue strap, you see that white layer? Okay, that runs over here and then feeds right there. So what you're gonna do is get this outer layer when you tighten the laces, like on any shoe, it's going to be tight, but you have this additional little loop right here to really give you an extra tight squeeze on your shit. Now, but here's the wind. But now the twos come in for the wind, because that shit is not just one layer. It goes all the way down. This red that you see, it goes all the way down. So it's going to actually extend down more versus just one or two or whatever it is on this motherfucker. It look like one right there. So yeah, you're gonna get that additional squeeze and fit further down the foot, on way more of the foot. See where it separates right there? So you're getting that additional tight fit right there. That's that red layer. And it's the original lace loop, so you're gonna get that fit. Or maybe I made all that up. I could be smoked out. It feels like it does. It's tight. Okay, it's tight. Even if it is, and if it doesn't, because of that, it don't matter why it's tight. It's tight. And I'm in it. This one is a bit taller, as you can see. So you're getting a little bit more ankle protection. Yeah, it is taller, so it has more give, but already in general, I think it just has more give. Yeah. So this one actually does end at the actual rubber outsole, whereas this one kind of, oh, that's hard right there. Okay, yeah. So yeah, a lot more gutted out with this one. It's way more flimsy in design. That's probably why it's so much more lighter. All right, they both pretty light. But... And just to be clear, both have a pull tab, or so you would think. Good luck getting your fucking fingers under the pull tab on the shot one. That's some meme shit. That's just tighter than a bicycle chain. A virgin bicycle. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's just tight as hell. The fuck you gonna stick a pencil or your fucking pinky in that bitch and just shit. And good luck if you got bigger fingers. Now it's funny because the tongue on this bitch is way thicker. It's actually acceptable. It's not a deal breaker like either way. but it's like appreciative, nigga. You heard what I said. So look how much fluff there is to that one versus this one. This one ain't even trying, buddy. Do you think with all the Air Max, you would take some air and just huff it in there at least or something, nigga? Nah. Again, that amount of fluff, especially when you get to the sides of it, is really appreciated in comparison to this one. It looks more fluff than it actually is. You see, you just squeeze it and it's already pretty thin. And you squeeze it and it just gives right away. Again, it's not gonna make or break anything. I don't think anyone's buying the shoe based on that alone. But it's just something you should just do. Man, they could just do it. It does look like more structure to it too. Yeah, that's way more. See, that bitch is just only like the grooves you see right here. It's gonna hug your Achilles or whatever that shit is. That's cool, and there's padding, but it just drops straight down. Nothing more to it. But this one, you see all the grooves and nooks and crannies and everything else. So it's gonna cup it up there. It's gonna cup it on the interior. So yeah, there's a lot more hug to it. And contour, I guess that would be the word to use. And this is just, yeah, it's just hollow in this bitch. Just a Costco warehouse in this bitch, my nigga. So those things individually probably wouldn't mean much, but them together for sure is gonna give it more comfort. Thin mesh panel, much more thin, more flex, more give, and everything. Hollowed out even more. I mean, look at the material. That's just a mesh of netting. This has a little bit more to it. It's a little bit more. Still flimsy though, but don't get me wrong. This one's just a little bit more flimsy. Just in case we come through here again, yeah, that is just nothing. That just all the give in the world. I mean, this one, I think that's the only difference. Like, if you get rid of this, basically, you'll have just that screen that you see here. With skating both of them, I didn't rip my shoe anywhere in this area because it's so far back. Like, this is the heel flip ollie area. So it's pretty far back. It's pushed back pretty far. Like, nigga, bronze hairline, nigga, before the life-saving procedure, my nigga. But if you did have problems with the first one, maybe this one will be better because it's higher up. Or maybe you had problems in that area. I don't know. So this is actually shorter too. It's smaller. This one a bit longer. So, but I doubt you're gonna be. Shit, who knows, nigga? That's on you, nigga. You won't spend your own money, nigga. So start with the top. It's more or less the same, except you do have a little bit more rubber bulge, as you can see on this one, versus this one. It's a lot more flat on that portion right there. Doesn't mean they're not going to wear at the same rate or a similar rate, but that more or less is locked in. It's the same anything, but maybe a slight edge, but nothing that really matters. When you move back here, you have that additional Nike sign. A lot of marketing right there. You don't have it here, you don't need it, but this rubber tab does go up higher, and then you have this additional suede layer that you don't have at all on this one. The fact that basically stalled at the speed I was going is both sad and impressive. But it's a nice piece of leather right here, so that's pretty strong as well. And this leather wasn't too weak, so I mean, this might more or less be the same. Now, of course, this just sets it off. That just sets it apart. As long as it doesn't come up, which I did have mine start to do, but it wasn't nothing I couldn't shoe. Now, where the Airshot and Max really wins out, and it's completely different, is this additional suede bumper for added longevity and protection. And so all this more or less the same. One layer here, another layer there, same. This one's a little bit thinner than this one. Still all flimsy. This edge just feels different, but it's probably more or less the same actually. Yeah, this one feels a little like it's a thin layer. This one feels a little bit thicker. So that might have a little bit more edge to it in terms of stickiness and protection. But for sure, when you get to this gray bumper, that shit is really setting it apart. So you got one layer, two layers, and then just third one that just seals the deal for me. See, more or less the same exact grip pattern, the herringbone. It's literally the same with the addition of this, with the exception of this. And that's just sticky rubber, all the same, grippy. Didn't slip around or anything. Now we're about to get kicked out this bitch right now. This nigga coming down. I think I scared him. Well, he didn't. I was expecting to get kicked out. That nigga came from the cut right there. I think I scared him. He was cool. I don't know what that is, but. So this outsole is way harder. It's a lot more support and stability for sure. This one is a lot more flimsy. And then of course here it's air, not air like in protection. It's just air as in nigga, nothing is there. Nigga, you rip the fuck off. This one's a lot more sturdy, stronger, way less give. More so in this back end. Again, from the front end, more or less the same with minor differences. You determine if anything's make or break. But then when you get to the back end, you see a difference in terms of the structure and the support. All right, things about to get really ashy here. Let me pull this apart right here. So we'll look at the internal of the Ishod ones. So look at the internal on the ones. You see that same pattern that's pretty hollowed out, but not quite as much at all or even close. And again, it actually does have a good amount of support on the bottom. It's not just empty. Now this one, again, this bitch is just gutty. Like damn, boy. And then this is some bullshit right here. So yeah, I would say this one definitely has more support in the back end, like I've been yapping about, nigga. I mean, when gutted, they both do sit pretty low. So your foot is actually really close to the ground. It's not a lot in the way protecting it. But this one seems to have a little bit more. It's a little bit harder. It expands all the way across like that. The whole length with extension touches the wall of the shoe. Versus this one that stops there, and then you get that plastic little tab. So the insole is supposed to come into play. I mean, it's more or less the same till you get to the back tab. But one is thick as hell. So that's why I give it to this one. And it definitely has more of that curve or that contour. So you're gonna feel that on your foot. This one barely does it, but it still has it to some extent. And the heel does have a cup, so you're gonna have that cupping. But you got way more cup, and it's higher up too on the first Ishods. But through and through, it's way thicker on the first one. And then at the end, yeah, there's no competition right here. That shit just go full BBL. And this shit is just on some SpongeBob anchor arms, honestly. And that's supposed to be the difference right there, the major separator. I don't like that shit. Feeling shit on flat ground, like I said. I didn't have that problem with these ones. On one foot on, even, toes, leaning to the toes. Leaning back, leaning towards the heel. So it's not completely giving out, as you can see. Oh yeah, that shit just feels way better. Goodness gracious. Arch support. And then of course heel support. So that, yeah, that feels infinitely better. 1 foot on that hoe. Yeah, that one bounces back a lot more. It's a lot more dense and it has a lot more rebound to it. So now the lacing system, this one has the traditional loops, but there is the ghillie system or whatever. You see those you see them bitches right there? Yeah, you can lace it. Instead of on the outside, you can lace it through there internally, but again, it's only from this half on. I don't see them anywhere else. At the same time, that lower area is where your laces tend to rip. Not that they don't rip up here, but it's just way quicker and easier down there for them to rip. So maybe you don't need it up here, but if you care, these ones do have that protection all the way up. So yeah, this one is just protected away with these fat ass little padlocks right here. So yeah, I didn't rip my laces at all. And look at that. Look at the placement right there in the high rip zone, especially when you kick flip and everything. It's higher up, and then it's just wrapped. Versus this one, it's just exposed. So these laces, infinitely more protection with the addition of this, but also this area is going to be taking damage more. This area is going to take damage more, and that's where it more or less is on the original ones. And even if it's not, it's definitely wrapped, so it doesn't matter. These are lasting way longer. Not only did this shit come up, but it just took the rubber part with it too. I expected the stitching to come up on this. That's what I meant. And maybe here, but I didn't expect like this part to be. I thought there'd be some separation between the two. Once this popped up, the stitching came undone here. This shit took the whole rubber part with it too, or it began to. And you can see that's just bullshit. So basically that thin ass mesh panel right there, so there's no protection under there. That's even thinner actually, it's just that netting. So yeah, you would definitely have to shoe glue these the moment you start to run into the stitching coming up. And yeah, the lace is held up because that shit is just perfection right there. But I'm more so worried about the rest of the shoe. And this is still skatable, it's perfectly skatable. But come on, I'm gonna get like another, like that's bad right there. That's the suede worn down, and the rubber that was once from this line on, you can just see it just worn down where it falls below. That's just supposed to be right there, right above board. But nah, see all that below my crusty ass, uncrustables, but crustable ass finger. Yeah, that's the rubber wearing down, exposing the suede part of the toe cap, and still intact. It's just, or it's not wearing down. It's not really intact. That's the problem. It's not wearing down. The rubber wore down. Suede is still holding it up. But if this shit comes off, then that shit don't matter. Yeah, that rubber is really worn down. I was really wearing the rubber down. That's why it's worn down. And then this coming up right here, that's fucking up its stitching right here. But good thing the lace loops are actually over here, so I think I'll be able to keep tying the shoe without messing it up, even though that shit popped off right there with the stitching. It's not really messing with the lacing. But yeah, this shit is just getting, this shit is blown out. Huh? I can't tell if it's from the skating or from my hands touching the motherfucker. Look at this shit. Now, it's a lot of damage. It's not messing up how I'm skating, but it's damn sure on its way out. Like a week at the most, not even a week, fuck that. A couple of days for sure. And that impact protection was embarrassing. So I'm gonna run it again with another pair, probably the black ones, maybe the orange ones, maybe those blue ones, maybe shit. And maybe we'll get something different, but I doubt it. This shit is, we definitely went with the impact protection. That was some bullshit, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with the ones just because the price alone. Even if I did like these ones better, based on the price, the amount of colors that are out there, and the fact you won't be able to get your hands on it too much longer. Where is that motherfucker at? That's the switch foot. This is the dominant foot. Yeah, you can see I started to blow this hole out too. That shit is really worn out. See, that's gonna fuck with you for sure. That shit was no joke. I was not playing with that rubber, but I stayed with these ones more. Probably about a week longer than I did those ones. Same with the 100 kickflip math and everything like that. But yeah, that rubber is holding on a lot better in terms of, shit, I'm not even zoomed in terms of not completely coming undone and taking the whole damn shoe with it. You know what I mean? But you see the same rubber protection starts to wear down. Then you got the suede layer under that rubber layer that it has to go through. But it's not coming completely undone like I was talking about, where that's coming up and it's just taking the whole part of the rubber, whatever's left of the shoe, any protection it has. And I don't mind the lace bed. Oh, they on one. Yeah, the lace bed didn't really blow out too much either on this one, but it is taking quite the amount of damage. So it kind of looks like it's more prone to damage in terms of all these additional stitching areas that are not even existent on the other one, because again, this additional gray suede bumper doesn't exist on the first ones. So by introduction of this alone, it's a whole problem unique to this one. That's not possible on the first ones. And I just noticed, but actually look at this layer of protection on the ones right there. That just completely came through. Look, see where it's just exposed on the Air Max, and it got fucked up. That's what happened. It got fucked up. Just taking all that damage. See that one? No, not so much. So that shit comes in handy. It doesn't just wear away too quickly or anything. At least right there it didn't. So yeah. That being said, you're probably more or less going to get the same type of experience, it's going to be worse off with these in terms of the impact. In terms of the price, I have seen them drop down a bit more too already at this point. That's the beautiful part about it. And this one is a little bit wider, just a little bit wider in the midfoot for sure, but they're still pretty both narrow. So if you got wide feet, just know that both pretty much are going to be more or less narrow. So that's the whole ass warm. That nigga is dried up in this motherfucker right there. The sun cooked and baked the nigga, dog. I mean, it's really up to you what you want to go with. I think it's a no-brainer to get the first ones easily though, while you still can, since you won't be able to, I'd imagine. Basically for me, they more so look different rather than radically skating different, giving you something different in terms of performance overall, like generally speaking.